Several updates have been introduced in the last few weeks on the F2012. How do you evaluate their impact on the car performance?
There were certainly a lot of updates between the last two races. I mean, there was a slightly different geometry front wing, different floor, different turning vanes, brake ducts were different, bodywork was different, and a new rear wing. So I mean, a lot of effort had gone in the wind tunnel and in manufacturing. I mean, it's a good effort all round to get all the parts delivered to Barcelona. I think most of them worked as expected. There were a few things that we're still looking at now, trying to understand if they're working to the right level. I think, all the bits added performance, some just a little bit less than we were expecting. So all in all, I mean, I think everyone's reasonably happy with the update we made. Obviously, we've still got a long way to go. We just got to keep on working at a similar rate.
Fernando's second place was a fantastic result, but was it really the mirror of our level of performance?
I mean, it's obviously a good result. I think in the end, our pace in the first stint and third stint were quite reasonable, and we struggled a little bit more in the second and the last stint. It's nice to be racing at the front. I think in the end, Williams had the speed on us in the second stint and managed to jump us. So I think we just need to keep working as hard as we can to improve the car. I think we're flattered slightly by cars being out of position, but with qualifying so close and the strategy you adopt through qualifying, I think this is the first time that we've been in this situation that has been equal to all the other teams. But I think everyone had one set of new soft tyres left, or no soft tyres at all, like Vettel. So it's with everything so close. We've just got to try and get every last little bit of performance and not make any mistakes.
You mentioned the difference in performance of the different sets of tyres. How much unpredictable is still the tyre behavior this season?
It's certainly unpredictable. I mean, it varies with the small changes in track temperature have a large effect on the tyre performance. I think it was China where that showed up. Or showed up the most. And it's also that they're quite sensitive to temperature, and they're quite sensitive to the way the drivers drive them. So on a normal three-stop race, if you're very, very careful on the rear tyres, you might be able to get them to last for a two-stop race, but you can't drive hard on the tyres, otherwise they degrade. So. It's also a little bit when you try and push the tyres, you tend to damage them a little bit. So when you're fighting in traffic, you take more out the tyres than you would do if you were running in clean air.
5 different winners on 5 different cars. How do you explain this unpredictable situation?
I think it is difficult to explain, isn't it? I suppose. I mean, it's good for the sport. I don't know how many years it's been, or if we've ever had. 5. It's not just 5 different drivers; it's 5 different teams. So I mean, I think it does show that the racing is all quite close this year. I mean, I'm sure it makes good entertainment.
Monaco is a special race for fans, for drivers who enjoy driving there. Is it the same for an engineer? Is it the same type of challenge?
It offers different engineering challenges, and you obviously need to set the car up quite differently. For Monaco, in Monaco you don't really attack all the corner entries as hard as you would at a normal circuit, because there's barriers there and barriers at the exit. So I mean, you set the car up a little bit differently, but I mean, it's certainly a challenge. Again, sort of trying to get the tyres to work there and trying to get the right car balance is equally as difficult. So I think all circuits offer a good challenge.
What are the crucial factors for a winning car in this race in Monaco?
Well, obviously, Monaco is more about downforce and less about efficiency and engine power. So, it's you need the most downforce, and you just need a consistent car. So, the driver, you know, I think you can watch the lap times improve through practice, and a lot of time just comes from the drivers learning the circuit and getting used to the circuit. So you just need a good clean practice session and laps to try and get the driver used to the circuit.
And do you think the F2012 can have these characteristics in Monaco?
Well, we're obviously working to try and achieve that. I mean, I think we've got a few more small updates, adds a little bit more downforce to the car. I think the interesting thing, you know, as we just mentioned, will be how each car uses its tyres.
From a strategic point of view, is it more of a challenge there than anywhere else?
It's not really, no. I mean, I think it's you know, it's quite a short lap, I suppose, so your thinking time is reduced. But other than that, I mean, you're just looking at the normal things of, you know, trade and tyre degradation against what the new sets are and where the traffic is, really. Obviously, Monaco is more about, you know, you've got to try and keep out the traffic and get a clear run at the race. So, you know, certainly if you're starting midfield, it's always a challenge. If you're starting at the front, it's a little bit easier.
Looking at medium term, how the F2012 will evolve during the season?
Well, I mean, it's just going to be, you know, a constant drive for updating, like everyone does these days. Excuse me. You know, I mean, we've got a, you know, obviously different rear wing and front wing package for Canada, which is obviously slightly different downforce level, and then we're working on, you know, we're still working on the exhaust system. There'll be versions of that we'll test today. We learnt a lot at the start of the year in understanding, you know, the problems that we had from that, and we had another go at Mugello, as some people would have seen. So I mean, I think we've got a good understanding now. But you know, the performance, you know, we're just trying to put the performance on the car as quickly as we can. So I mean, it will be a constant drive all the way through to the last race.